Did you know that nearly half of older adults cannot sleep through the night without once waking up? Research shows that close to 50% of people over 60 experience fragmented sleep most nights of the week. The surprising part is that the cause is often not the bedroom, the mattress, or even the mind. The cause is very often what was sipped, swallowed, or skipped in the hours just before bedtime. Recent reviews from the Mayo Clinic and the Cleveland Clinic confirm that evening beverage choices directly shape how deeply the body enters the restorative stages of sleep. Many seniors reach for plain water when sleep breaks, yet plain water is often the very thing sending the bladder into overdrive and waking them at 2 in the morning. This video shares 5 evening drinks that research suggests can ease the body into deeper, longer sleep, 3 daily habits that quietly destroy sleep quality, and the simple routine that ties everything together. Stay with me because the #1 drink has surprised many long-time viewers. Comment below with the worst hour the night tends to break. Replies will come to each one. Sleep in the second half of life follows different rules than sleep in younger years. Here is what happens inside the body as the decades pass. The brain naturally produces less of the hormone melatonin, which acts as the chemical messenger that signals it is time to sleep. The internal clock, the circadian rhythm, becomes more sensitive to small shifts in light, temperature, and routine. Sleep apnea becomes more common, a condition where the airway briefly closes and jerks the sleeper awake. The bladder fills more quickly and empties more often, a pattern called nocturia that wakes older adults 2 or 3 times a night on average. Studies found that close to 60% of seniors experience nocturia at least once per night. The hidden danger is that most adults treat these interruptions as normal signs of aging, so nothing changes and the cycle continues. Here is what happens when fragmented sleep goes untreated week after week. The immune system weakens. The memory storage process slows down, mood drops and irritability rises. Reaction times grow slower, raising the risk of falls. The appetite hormone ghrelin rises while leptin falls, leading to weight gain even when portions stay the same. The heart spends more time in a stressed state, raising blood pressure through the night. Research shows that older adults who sleep fewer than 6 hours face a higher risk of cognitive decline within 5 years. The domino effect spreads quietly from sleep to every other system. None of this is inevitable. The body wants sleep, the brain wants sleep, every organ wants sleep. The environment and the evening routine simply need to invite sleep back in. That invitation starts with what is poured into the glass at night. Here is the story of Harold. Harold was a 72-year-old retired postal worker from Ohio. He had slept a solid 7 hours every night for his entire adult life. Then, in his late 60s, the pattern broke. He began waking 2 or 3 times each night, often at 1 in the morning, then again at 3, then again at 4:30. By the time his alarm rang at 6, he felt as though he had not slept at all. He tried warm milk. He tried herbal sleep blends from the drugstore. He tried cutting caffeine after noon. Nothing worked for more than a week or 2. The exhaustion began affecting his moods and his walks with his wife. He felt like a stranger to himself. Now this is important, because Harold's story sounds like the story of millions of older adults. Comment below how many times the night breaks, and let the age be shared as well. The pattern matters more than people realize. The first habit to avoid is caffeine after noon. Caffeine has a half-life of roughly 6 hours, meaning half of the caffeine from that 2 cup of coffee is still active in the bloodstream at 8 p.m. Here is the shocking part that most people do not know. Many older adults consume caffeine hidden in chocolate, certain pain relievers, and even decaf coffee that still contains small amounts of the stimulant. A Cleveland Clinic review noted that seniors who kept caffeine to morning hours only fell asleep about 20 minutes faster on average than those who sipped it later. The hidden danger is that caffeine does more than keep the mind awake. It locks onto receptors deep in the brain that the calming neurotransmitter adenosine is trying to reach. Adenosine is the gentle nudge that pulls the body towards sleep, and caffeine blocks that nudge hour after hour. The afternoon cup of tea or coffee feels harmless, yet the brain disagrees for many hours afterward. Here is the story of Margaret. Margaret was a 78-year-old retired school librarian from Oregon. Her bedroom was cool, dark, and quiet. She removed every glowing screen 1 hour before bed. She even wore earplugs. Still, she woke up at 2:30 every single night. She dreaded the small hours. Within a month of cutting caffeine to a single morning cup, her sleep began to change. Within 6 weeks, she was sleeping 5 straight hours for the first time in years. She called it her gift back to herself. Her daytime focus returned, and her afternoon naps disappeared. Her grandchildren noticed that Grandma seemed brighter again. Comment below with one word that describes the worst part of waking at night. The pattern matters more than people realize. The second habit to avoid is heavy late dinners. Here is what happens when a large meal lands in the stomach within 3 hours of bedtime. The digestive system stays active while the rest of the body tries to power down. Heart rate rises. Core body temperature rises. Both of these signals fight the brain's natural sleep command. Studies found that adults who finish dinner at least 3 hours before bed fall asleep faster and experience fewer middle-of-the-night wake-ups. For seniors, the effect is even more pronounced because digestion already slows with age. But here's the hidden disaster most seniors miss. Late dinners also worsen acid reflux, and reflux pain wakes the body in the small hours even when the sleeper does not connect the two events. The spicy meal, the creamy pasta, the late dessert all carry hidden costs that show up around 2 a.m. The third habit to avoid is alcohol as a sleep aid. Many older adults enjoy a glass of wine with dinner and assume it relaxes them. But here's the shocking part behind that feeling. Alcohol helps people fall asleep faster, yet it shreds the second half of the night. Research published in sleep journals shows alcohol cuts deep sleep and fragment cycles, which is the dream-rich stage the body needs for memory and repair. Seniors who drink alcohol within 4 hours of bedtime wake more often and feel less rested in the morning. The hidden danger is even greater for anyone taking common heart or blood pressure medications, where alcohol deepens the drowsiness in unpredictable ways. A small glass on special occasions stays a fair choice. A nightly habit turns into a nightly problem. Here is the story of Robert. Robert was a 65-year-old former electrician from Michigan. He had struggled with sleep for almost a decade. He drank 2 glasses of wine most evenings and believed it helped him drift off. The truth became hard to ignore when his doctor pointed out his rising blood pressure and his daytime fatigue. Robert cut the wine to weekends only, added an evening chamomile tea, and within 10 days his blood pressure dipped and his mornings felt clear again. Comment, I'm guilty if any of these habits sound familiar. There is no judgment here, and a fix is just ahead. Comment below with the strangest evening habit that felt comforting, yet seemed to break the night. The fourth habit to avoid is screen time late into the evening. Here is what happens when the brain stares at a phone or television right before bed. Blue light floods the retina and tells the brain it is still daytime. Melatonin production drops. The sleep signal weakens. But here's the shocking part most people do not know. Even small amounts of late-night light exposure, including a bright bedside lamp, can delay the rise of melatonin by 30 minutes or more. Sleep Foundation guidelines suggest dimming screens and lights at least 1 hour before sleep. Many older adults also miss that the small nightlight in the hallway, the glowing clock on the nightstand, and the bright bathroom light all quietly work against deep sleep when used too close to bedtime. Here is the story of Eleanor. Eleanor was a 69-year-old retired nurse from Pennsylvania. Every night for 20 years, she had fallen asleep with the television on. She thought the soft noise helped her. After a fall in her hallway, her doctor asked about her sleep. Eleanor agreed to try a quiet bedroom with no screens. Within 3 weeks, her energy returned. She walked longer distances with confidence. She felt steadier on her feet. She credits the new evening routine with giving her independence back, and she now teaches her friends the same simple rule. The fifth habit to avoid is large amounts of plain water right before bed. Plain water is essential through the day, but sipping 16 ounces an hour before sleep is a recipe for a 2 a.m. wake-up. Most seniors do not know this rule, and many reach for water as a comfort when sleep breaks. The bladder, already smaller and less elastic with age, fills to the trigger point shortly after lights out. Here is what happens when the body tries to ignore that signal. The sleep stage becomes shallower. The mind drifts closer to waking. Within an hour, the bathroom trip arrives anyway. Plain water is best enjoyed earlier in the evening, with just a few sips in the last hour before bed. The body still gets plenty of fluids through the day without the trickle of bathroom trips through the night. Now that the 5 hidden disasters have been named, the countdown of drinks that bring sleep back can finally begin. Number 5 on the countdown, passion flower tea. Passion flower, known in herbal medicine as Passiflora incarnata, gently calms a racing mind without the grogginess of stronger medications. Studies found that adults who drank passion flower tea for 1 week reported falling asleep faster and waking less often during the night. Research from the National Center for Complementary and Integrative Health notes passion flower's traditional use as a calming herb in European folk medicine for hundreds of years. Here is what happens within minutes of drinking a warm cup. The body temperature rises slightly from the warmth, then drops, and that drop signals the brain to release sleep hormones. Blood pressure eases, muscles relax, the mind settles. The key compounds in passion flower work on GABA receptors, the same calming receptors that many gentle sleep medicines target, yet they do so without the morning fog. The right way to enjoy it is 1 cup brewed from dried leaves, steeped for 10 minutes, sipped about 45 minutes before bed. For seniors who take blood pressure medication, a quick check with the doctor is always wise. Number 4, a magnesium-rich evening drink. Magnesium is a mineral that hundreds of enzymes depend on, including the enzymes that build calming neurotransmitters. Many older adults consume far less magnesium than their bodies need. Research shows low magnesium links with shallower, more restless sleep. Studies found that adults who added a magnesium supplement at night fell asleep faster and woke less frequently. The reassuring part is that magnesium works by replenishing what the body has been missing, not by forcing sleep. Here is what happens when magnesium reaches a depleted nervous system. The muscles release their grip, the thoughts slow their pace, the heart settles into a calmer rhythm. The best evening form is a warm mug of water with a small amount of magnesium powder stirred in, taken about 30 minutes before bed. Some families prefer magnesium-rich foods like pumpkin seeds or almonds with a small banana as their evening snack instead of a powder. For anyone with kidney concerns, a doctor's clearance comes first. Number 3, warm milk with a pinch of nutmeg. Here is what happens when warm milk reaches the stomach before bed. The tryptophan in milk converts into serotonin and then into melatonin. The warmth triggers that gentle temperature drop that prepares the brain for sleep. A study from dairy nutrition researchers found that adults who drank warm milk at bedtime fell asleep about 10 minutes faster than those who did not. Nutmeg adds a small bonus. Nutmeg contains myristicin, a plant compound that traditional Ayurvedic medicine has used for centuries to calm the mind. A single evening cup made with 1 cup of warm milk and a sprinkle of nutmeg on top suits most seniors without irritation. Lactose-sensitive sleepers can swap in warm oat milk or almond milk with the same nutmeg, since both still carry tryptophan in smaller amounts. Number 2, chamomile tea. Chamomile has been called the night's quiet helper for good reason. A study from Iranian researchers found that older adults who drank chamomile extract for 28 days slept more deeply and felt more refreshed on waking. The Sleep Foundation notes chamomile contains apigenin, a plant compound that binds gently to receptors in the brain and signals it is safe to sleep. Here is what happens within 15 minutes of a warm cup. The breathing slows, the shoulders drop, the mind loosens its grip on the day's worries. The best way to use it is 1 cup of pure chamomile tea, brewed in a covered cup so the calming oils do not evaporate, sipped about an hour before bed. Honey or a small slice of lemon suits most palates and does not weaken the effect. The warmth itself doubles as a quiet ritual that trains the body to recognize bedtime. Number 1, tart cherry juice. This is the most surprising drink of the countdown, and many long-time viewers say it changed how they sleep. Tart cherries contain natural melatonin and compounds that protect tryptophan from breaking down too quickly. A Louisiana State University study found that older adults with insomnia who drank tart cherry juice each morning and each evening slept 84 minutes longer than the comparison group. Research from the European Journal of Nutrition showed similar gains in melatonin levels. Here is what happens when the body receives tart cherry compounds. Melatonin levels rise gently. Inflammation in the muscles and joints drops. Sleep becomes deeper and more restorative. The right way to use it is 1 small glass, about 8 ounces, of Montmorency tart cherry juice, consumed about 2 hours before bed on most nights. Plain water can be sipped earlier in the evening to stay hydrated without crowding the bladder. Comment which of these surprised most before the next section begins. Here is what makes this plan powerful. These drinks work even better together because each one targets a different pathway to sleep. Tart cherries feed the melatonin system. Chamomile soothes the nervous system. Magnesium relaxes the muscles. Passion flower eases the racing mind. Warm milk supports tryptophan. A simple evening routine ties this together. At dinner, finish the meal 3 hours before bed. 2 hours before bed, enjoy 1 small glass of tart cherry juice with a light dinner if the day was physically demanding. 1 hour before bed, sip a warm cup of chamomile tea. 45 minutes before bed, take the magnesium-rich snack or warm milk with nutmeg. Lights dim, screens go quiet. The body receives a layered invitation to sleep. Most older adults notice the changes within the first 7 to 10 days. Within a month, the pattern usually feels as natural as breathing again. A breakfast example would be plain oatmeal with a handful of pumpkin seeds and a sliced banana to keep magnesium topped up for the night. A lunch example would be a bowl of lentil soup with a small side of cherries to start boosting melatonin stores. An evening example would be chamomile tea at 8, warm milk with nutmeg at 8:30, and lights out by 9. A few cautions are worth raising. People who take blood thinners should speak with their doctor before drinking tart cherry juice every day, since cherries can interact mildly with these medications. People who take sedatives or blood pressure drugs should clear chamomile and passion flower with their doctor first, since both herbs can deepen the effect. People with kidney concerns should ask about magnesium before adding supplements. People living with diabetes should choose tart cherry juice, unsweetened, and watch the portion. Always start with a small amount of any new drink to test tolerance. The goal is gentle support, not strong medication. If symptoms continue beyond a month, a visit to the doctor is the wise next step. The body deserves care and respect, and that includes professional medical support when sleep loss is severe. For years, fragmented sleep felt like an inevitable gift of growing older. The research tells a different story. Older bodies respond deeply to the right evening routine. The right drinks at the right times work in harmony with the body's own chemistry. Knowledge like this stays with anyone for life, and it travels from 1 cup of chamomile to one neighbor, then to another. Many seniors have shared that within weeks they felt steadier, brighter, and more like themselves again. Comment one of 3 things below. First, the age and how many times the night breaks. Second, which drink sounds worth trying first. Third, what other sleep topics deserve coverage next. Subscribe for more senior health guides like this one. The next video will explore the morning routine that protects the sleep just rebuilt. If this video helped, share it with someone who needs this information, because a single evening change might save a night's rest and brighten a year ahead.